The studio I loved. Everybody is saying, "Oh, I know who you're playing." You know, you're doing that too. I'm sure you're getting that a lot.
Sure, yeah.
So, who are you playing?
Don't with my slate.
You're the one with my slate, okay? I've been trying to get my first movie greenlit while you're remaking a movie for the third time!
Stay in your lane, wait your turn.
At this rate, I'm never gonna have a turn.
Honestly, yeah, you're probably right.
I'm smarter than you. I watch more films than you. I actually went to film school and I care about filmmaking.
Okay, we don't make films, we make movies, and we're not artists. We're executives, and you're not even that. You're just a D-girl.
Did you steal that from The Sopranos? Your burns aren't even original.
Gabagool. Mwah. Daniel, come to me.
Welcome to Behind the Lens. And today, actually, he's in front of the lens and behind the lens. He does it all. No question about it. Currently in the studio as Sal Saperstein, made infamous on the Golden Globe episode of that show. And Running Point, a terrific show on Netflix, where he's executive producer, co-creator, and writer. This is Ike Barinholtz. Hi.
Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, wow, you're having quite the year.
Yeah, I guess I am. I'm very lucky man, and very blessed, as my grandmother would say.
What do you prefer? You're a creative guy that does it all. I mean, the movie The Oath, which I loved.
Oh my God,
thank
you.
Directed, starred in, produced. You did, carried the props and whatever you had to
Catering.
do.
I was my honey wagon.
It's another way of saying you can do it all, but what do you prefer most?
It's so funny. I'll be like right now, I'm working on a show, writing and kind of being with Dave Sasson and then Mindy and wearing sweatpants and eating, big sandwiches for lunch. That's so fun. Yeah. And I love that. And then you get to a point after doing it for many, many months where you're like, can I please get on set and be with some actors? And then when you're on set, after a few months of doing that, you're like, oh man, I just need to get back in the writer's room or be writing so it's always kind of changing, but I'm so lucky to be able to kind of work on these different things in different capacities. And I'm so fortunate to have these partners that I have, whether it's Dave and Mindy or Seth and Evan, and very lucky man.
You can't get better than that.
No, they're like the four greatest people.
These are, of course, you worked on the Mindy Project as an actor, but also behind the scenes on that too.
Yeah, well, we got hired, Dave Stasson and I got hired to be writers on that show.
Oh, okay.
And Mindy kind of said, she's like, oh, we'll figure out like a really funny part for you because you're an actor. But I thought it would be like a 1 or 2 episode, like a janitor who shows up on
Yeah.
And then one day she wrote this character of Morgan Tukers, and I remember laughing so hard reading his first scene. And God bless her, she forced Fox to hire me. She was like, you're not auditioning people for this. He's the guy. And so that character was born, and for 6 seasons, Mindy, Dave, and I were there on set from call to wrap every day, and putting her in all kinds of stupid scenarios. But it was for my children, actually. Now I have 3 young children, daughters, and they're starting to watch the Mindy Project. And it's a lot of those episodes I haven't seen since they aired. It's been a long time, and watching them watch it is very funny, even though I occasionally have to fast forward through a couple of dirty jokes. That's the one thing.
Do you remember where they are in their show?
A couple of them. So there's a couple of episodes where the central conceit of the episode is something that I don't want them to know anything about. So I'll be like, you know what? Go to the next episode. That's really funny. Do the Halloween episode. That's a good one.
Yeah. You have done so much, just on the television side of it, so much comedy. Obviously, Mad TV.
Yeah, my start.
Which is an incredible training ground for everything that follows.
Oh, yeah. That's where I learned TV. That's where I learned literally like what a mark is and how to get your idea across in a writer's room and how to advocate for what you want. It taught me so much. A lot of friends it was a great cast. It was great writers. It was such a fun time. But yeah, it was a great job to have when I was 25.
And you could do any style of comedy there. It's improv.
Yeah, for that show, they were kind enough to let me write and take some of the sketches that I had done with Josh Myers.
Oh yeah.
We would do things where we would go. They would send me to like the premiere of a movie, and I would like interview the people on the red carpet, you know. So they really throw you in all kinds of different situations.
Or they interview you. You're quite the impressionist.
Yeah. Well, that was a big part of it. I do like doing impressions, and Mad TV. You would always get a chance to either do an impression that you were good at, but also a lot of times they would kind of say to you on like a Monday morning, like, "Hey, can you imitate John Mahoney from Frasier?" And I'd be like, "No," and they'd be like, "Well, you're playing him on Friday night." So there was a lot of kind of like watching research tapes and being like, "Oh, that's how he talks."
I was interviewing Benedict Cumberbatch at a tribute I was doing for him in Santa Barbara, and I made the mistake, because I read somewhere he does celebrity impressions, and I made the mistake of saying, "Hey, could you do some celebrity impressions for us?" And he goes like, "Want me to do you?" Right in front of that audience.
Did he do it as you?
As me.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It was like, it freaked me out.
We should bring back Mad TV and make Benedict Cumberbatch the star of it, so we can refocus the show around him.
He's actually surprisingly funny.
I believe it. I'm obsessed with him. I'm obsessed with that guy.
Are you?
Yeah, he's amazing. I love Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. It's one of my favorite movies.
I'm fascinated with the whole thing of Amsterdam being this place for American comedy.
Yeah.
Boom, Chicago.
Boom, Chicago.
And I already knew that Ted Lasso started around there too, with the Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, well, it was started as these a couple of Americans in Amsterdam, and they were like, "Hey, we should do like a Second City style comedy theater here in Amsterdam." So it started off just like 6 or 7, college kids in the back of a bar. And then by the time I got there, it was like a big proper theater where they had like 200, 300 seats. I was there for 2 years, and over that time span, Seth Meyers was there, his brother Josh, Liz Kukowski is one of the amazing writer and actress, Jason Sudeikis, Brendan Hunt, and Joe Kelly, the 3 Ted Lasso guys were there. Jordan Peele, Amber Ruffin. It was a really great time to be there. Kay Cannon, who directed me in Blockers, really great time to be there, and an incredible group of people you were surrounded by. It's crazy.
I love Blockers too.
Oh, it was fun.
I didn't realize you got injured making that movie.
I did, yeah. That stunt gone wrong. Yeah.
Is comedy worth it, man?
Honestly, it might be for that movie. I love that movie.
You do your own stunts?
Not anymore. Now I
it?
find a guy who kind of looks like me but is much stronger.
They're going to give an Oscar for stunts
They
now.
Absolutely should, man.
They should, shouldn't they?
Stunts are like, I've worked very closely with them over the years, and they are just incredible. And real, like, there's a stunt in the studio, an episode, the Olivia Wilde episode.
Oh, yeah.
I get nailed by a car. And I remember it was like 4 a.m, and this guy came over and shook his hand. We were talking for a little bit. He's like, "I'm going to kind of fall like this." This guy just got hit by a car and just like hits the pavement, just like gets back up and is like, "Bye, guys." And I was like, give that man an Oscar.
God, that was a big chase sequence of running down the
running down the hill where she's got the can of film.
Yeah, she's great.
How good was she? Oh my God, she's incredible.
Yeah,
she's such a good actor. Jesus.
And she's another one. Can go right behind the camera there.
No, she's wild, man. She's
do great work.
Big fan.
The studio I loved. I don't binge stuff much, but I couldn't stop watching that show.
Well, it's made for you. You know what I mean? This one's for you.
It is. It's an insider show. Isn't it?
Yeah. Obviously, when you're making something about showbiz, people in our world are going to love it. But I do get goosed when friends of mine in Kentucky or Chicago or Amsterdam will reach out and they're like, "Oh my God, this part was so funny," and they'll like the showbiz parts. You know what I mean? It's just like there's something about it. It's like not comparing it to Larry Sanders, which is the greatest show of all time. But I remember when I was a kid in Chicago watching Larry Sanders and being like, "Oh, I want to be part of this. Whatever this is, I love it." It's definitely one for if you're you or me or any of us in this room. I've seen that situation.
I don't know how much of it's scripted, but it feels like you're making it up on the spot, like so much of it, because it's brilliant comedy and it just goes rat-a-tat-tat style.
Yeah.
Is it all scripted, or are you doing a lot of improv?
It's not all scripted. I mean, they had great writers, Seth Evan and Pete Hike and Alex Gregory, who they did Veep and they've done so much, and Frida Perez wrote incredible stories with super funny jokes. When we get up there, this is unlike any other show I've been on where you rehearse and you rehearse and you rehearse, because every scene is one take and there's a lot of choreography and technical stuff going on. So when you're rehearsing it a lot, things change in the moment, and a line doesn't make sense, that person saying it, so things change. And also Seth did cast me, and Catherine Hahn, who tend to improvise a lot.
Catherine O'Hara.
The
Second City.
I mean, come on, like literally the queen of it. And Chase Sui Wonders, who also like
Yeah.
Harvard Lampoon girl, like with comedy DNA running through her. There was a good amount of improv, I'd say, but really kind of like once you get into the rhythm of the scene, you don't want to risk having like a funny improv line unless you're sure it's going to kill. Because if that line throws someone off, and all of a sudden our cameraman who's strapped to a rig and it's an 11-minute take, all of a sudden he's like, wait, he was supposed to say, I want an ice cream sundae. And then the shot falls apart. I don't want to be the one who's like, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought it was a funny quip.
Yeah. Everybody is saying, oh, I know who you're playing. You know, you're doing that too. I'm sure you're getting that a lot.
Sure, yeah.
So who are you playing? Do I know him?
Probably. I mean, the thing is this: I've been lucky enough to work in this business as a writer and a producer for a while, so I've dealt with a lot of executives, and the vast majority of them really are great and funny. And so there's been a lot of bros, and a lot of it is bros, because he's a very bro-y guy, I think, Sal, that I have stolen little elements from. I make a joke that it's Eric Byers, who's like works at Universal, but it is a lot of different dudes that I know who stealing just multiple, just little things from each of them and kind of building this miasma, I guess. Whatever it is.
You're so good with Seth. I know you worked together before, obviously neighbors and things, but I mean, it's like Ralph Cramden and Norton.
Oh my God.
It's like the two, and you're sort of tied together and you're following around and all of that. But
Scorsese said we were like Abbott and Costello.
And
very funny, Abbott and Costello, very funny.
Which is, I mean, you can go back to that, but it's a great comedy team, in other words, that you've got going on here.
You know what it is? We have done a lot together, and I think our relationship is like I'm the id a little bit. The characters I play are the ones who are going to say the really bad thing, which allows Seth to go, no, don't fucking say that. Don't, shut up. There's also like a physicality thing with Seth and I where because we've done a lot together, like we can kind of touch each other a lot. You know what I mean? Like there's a scene in the studio, which you can't even really tell when you watch it, but like I'm trying to get him just to say hi to the Parker Finn, who's the director of Smile.
Yes.
Trying to get him to make a knockoff of his own movie.
Right, that was great.
And he said he'll do it, but he has to say hi to Seth. And Seth is like walking out the door, and I'm like, hey, can you come say hi to Parker Finn? He's like, no, fuck you. I'm going to go have martinis with Chris Hemsworth. And I'm like, no, just say hi for 1 sec. And Seth, like at one point, like goes, no, I'm going to go hang out with Chris Hemsworth, and shoves me so hard. And it was so, it just that comfortability, I think, gives you, it just makes you more pathetic in the scene, which makes it funnier, I think.
Yeah. I love the bit about the parking spaces.
Oh my God.
You know, because that really is like a documentary. You go on a studio a lot. You park in somebody's space, like George Clooney's or something. You'll know at that moment you do it.
You go to Hollywood jail.
Yeah.
I had a space when we were shooting the Mindy Project on the Universal lot, and I really pride myself on not being late.
Yeah.
Especially for production. That's my nightmare. Is even 5 minutes late for like a call is terrible. And I came in one morning and there was someone parked in my space, and I was seeing red. I was like, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. and I remember just cursing this person, like, son of a bitch. Blah, blah, blah. And this nice older lady came and got to her car, and she was like, sorry. I go, it's no problem. It's fine. It's fine. But it's not a good feeling. And the fact that they kind of made this the focal point of the episode is very funny, because a lot of people are like, yep, been there.
Oh, no, you know, I'll drive on to Warner Brothers for a screening that might be at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and there's all those spaces, and I'm still like, I got to go find something else. I'll never know what's going to happen.
You never know. That's the night Clint Eastwood shows up to check in with his editor.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's bad.
You mentioned Parker Finn. I love, obviously the guest stars that come on to this show, and I know Martin Scorsese was a dream kind of yours. You go back and thinking here you are acting with him.
It was crazy. I remember the night Seth texted me that Marty said yes. He was just like, we got Marty. And it was just us texting F you with exclamation marks over and over again. Like, no, that's impossible. What? Showing up, seeing him, couldn't believe it. I've been obsessed with him my entire life. All of a sudden, you're acting with him. It's so weird.
What was it about him that, made him such an important figure for you in this business?
I saw Goodfellas opening night at the Esquire Theater in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was a very transformative moment for me. I remember being like, I didn't even say like, I need to be in movies or I need to be a gangster, but I was like, I need to be, the feeling I have right now from watching this is a feeling that I've never had before. And it really sparked something in me. And I've watched that movie many, 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 many times. I've seen everything he's ever done. He to me is the GOAT. And to get to work with him on any level is incredible, let alone act with him,
Right.
That's crazy. It's one thing to have a couple lines in one of his movies. That would be incredible. But you get to act with him and he, he's telling you stories in between takes about how Jules at gym inspired Goodfellas and stuff, and you're just like, oh my God.
Getting Jerry Lewis to do King of Comedy was such a brilliant thing that he did with De Niro.
That movie, by the way, is not enough people have seen that movie.
I know. I don't know why.
It's incredible. Sandra Bernhard in that movie.
She's amazing.
Oh, so good. Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch that movie this weekend.
Oh yeah.
It's like a perfect movie.
I thought Ron Howard, obviously he's an actor. He's been acting since he was 5 years old.
Yeah.
But it really shows it. That was a great episode too, where he just goes ballistic.
Ron Howard still got a lot of juice. Like he's still very much an actor. Because it's funny, like we were shooting at Warner Brothers, and we were, again, the cool thing about this is like these great directors. Normally, when you're working with Ron Howard, he's the director and he's on set, flanked by his little lieutenants and stuff, and he kept very far away. But on this show, they're in the Sprinter van next to you. You know what I mean? So you just get to talk to them. And I remember saying to him, I was like, have you ever shot on this lot before as an actor? He goes, let's see. Oh, yeah, I was in The Music Man. And I was like,
at Warner Brothers.
Played the little boy in The Music Man. And just getting to sit with him and hear stories about how Paula Matt and Harrison Ford bullied him on the set of American Graffiti. Just hearing that is so good. And then when you get to go to set, and he's playing this insane version of himself who's just kind of a prick and is really muscling Matt. I feel like bullying Matt a little bit. But that scene when he starts freaking out and he takes off his Imagine hat and just starts whipping. I mean, that was where I lost it. I was like, Ron Howard still got it.
It was so great. At the American Film Institute tribute to Coppola recently, he got up there and told a story about American Graffiti and about how the studio hated it. They hated the dailies. They said you should be embarrassed to George Lucas, and Coppola on the spot said, fine, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, that this show, the studio, kind of points out the craziness of this business and how.
And it does it, I think, through a lens of love. One of the things I love about the studio is that they love show business. Seth and Evan, James Weaver, they've been in it for a long time. And even though it's very imperfect and is constantly changing and sometimes looks like it's about to crash and then it's miraculously resurrected and there's horrible people that come and go, they find the beauty in it. They find the joy in it. And, you've seen how it ends, but I think they realize like it's these movies that is bringing them together as friends a little bit. And it shows, I think, the kind of beautiful side of show business, which can be a cruel mistress, but also a wonderful partner.
It also shows the other side that I write about a lot for Deadline, award seasons.
Oh, yes.
And the Golden Globe thing, where you become the star of the show inadvertently because somebody mentions your name.
Adam Scott.
And every other winner comes up and goes, Sal, even while Seth, all he wants is recognition himself.
He just wants, that's the thing that Seth really talked to studio heads about. And every single one of them was like, the important thing is that you make money and make good films, but the thing you want is to be named first and last name at an award show. So he made that like the central focal point of Matt's motivation for that episode, and
amazing.
He doesn't get it.
I just wanted to introduce myself formally. I'm Isla Gordon, the president of the Waves. I also want to update you on some changes.
Well, it's been real, y'all. I'm gonna miss you boys.
Actually, Travis, you're not going anywhere. You're gonna stay here and play your ass off and fulfill the promise of a $44 million deal. And hopefully you're gonna give it the same focus and care you do your music career. If not, you are going to sit your ass on the bench for 2 entire years watching your value evaporate. I might send you somewhere cold, like Minnesota.
Sorry, so we have 11 guys on the roster now?
Nope, I signed Dyson Gibbs from the D-League. Oh, and there he is.
sorry I'm late. Someone died on the bus I was on. I had to wait for a new bus.
It's a horrific story, but welcome to the team. Anyway, we are going to give the rest of the season everything we got and make a deep playoff run. We're the Waves. We don't do rebuilding years.
And I have to say on Running Point, now that I'm thinking about Running Point, there's Scorsese all over that. You tell her to watch Casino.
Oh, yes, we do.
Does.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there getting tough by watching Joe Pesci. I think that's in the title of the episode.
Yeah, she's watching Richard Reel get intimidated by Joe Pesci. And that was, remember when we were breaking that and we wanted like a funny kind of way to toughen her up, and I've seen Casino probably 100 times. And I know that scene by heart. And Dave and I just thought having Kate Hudson tell someone that she was going to crack their heads open made us laugh. So we put it in there.
I've seen a lot of sports comedies on television, but this one's, I would say, it's about in a sports background, but it's really about family.
Yeah.
And it's really about this family. It's kind of like a comedic Succession.
That was definitely, I think, really, truly one of the vibes we were kind of talking about when we were really breaking the show. We were like, we love how Succession is about a family and they are comfortable making fun of each other and bringing up each other's imperfections. But we also wanted to make sure that, like, unlike the Roys, who are very damaged, sick people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We wanted there to be, I think, a little more love and make it just a little bit warmer. Like Succession is one of the greatest shows of all time. I watched every episode the night it aired. But the characters were very loathsome. Even though there were episodes where you felt for this one, to have that for this show would feel a little weird. So we try to give them a little more love, a little more TLC.
Yeah, well, you look like with Kate Hudson, because she's very smart, and I love the scenes where she was on the phone back and forth, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. But also, she's just trying to show her brothers that she is worthy of taking over that team.
That's right, and I think it's the big theme of the show is just like proving to this ghost of a father that you have more worth than just being the girl running around.
Right.
And I you know, when we first met with Kate, she was like, "I have brothers. I am Isla." You know what I mean? And so a lot of times when we're like, pitching her a scene that, or Scott MacArthur is torturing her or something, she's like, "Yeah, I've been through this before." Drawing from true experiences.
How does it feel to be competing against yourself ultimately in the Emmys this year? Because both of these are comedies and in the same category. And
it's an honor to be working on these shows, and having people connect with them is so wonderful, and just such a dream. I never thought I'd be in that position. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Can I ask you about The Oath?
Yes, please.
Because The Oath,
crazy.
People need to see The Oath right now.
Do you hear this? Are we all hearing this?
Right now, because somehow you didn't know what was going to happen when you wrote that movie, I am sure. But if you look at it now, Americans meant to sign a loyalty pledge to the president. Now it is like a documentary. This is like happening every day.
Jimmy Kimmel said to me when that movie came out, he goes, "This movie will be looked back at as kind of an early warning." And he said that when it first came out, because he which makes me think he's like Nostradamus or something. But unfortunately, I do keep seeing whether people are sending me messages on Instagram or wherever, like, "Hey, just watch The Oath," and it's happening. And it's very disheartening. Maybe I should make another movie where it's like a happier ending, and maybe that will happen.
Or take us out of where we are now and show us the way forward.
Yeah, that's something that, I think about not all day, every day, but most of the day. And hopefully we'll get there. But right now it does feel a little tight.
How did you come up with it?
I remember that it was Thanksgiving 2016, and Trump had just won for the first time. And my family, who were all voted for Clinton, but various, my brother and I are probably a little more of like a Bernie type of person. My parents are a little more Hillary type of people. And so, but we all voted for the same person. We all wanted her to win desperately. We desperately did not want Trump to win. And even we were all arguing. And I always thought, God, if this is happening at our table where we're all getting along, but we're just kind of arguing about semantics. What is happening at other Thanksgiving tables across the country? And so I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday, and I really wanted to take that feeling of like, oh my God, I hope my brother doesn't say something stupid at Thanksgiving and just blow it up. And so, it really does give you this feeling of like, oh my God, you're at the worst holiday dinner of all time. And then the shit goes down.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of people have been in the first part of that position. I hope we don't have a lot of people in the second part, but it seems like it's happening more and more every day.
I know. I don't think people are going to be able to afford Thanksgiving this year, so that you may be able to avoid Thanksgiving dinners and have this problem.
Everyone's just going to be having like a pizza for one because it's a hard rain's going to fall, to quote Bob Dylan.
It's a long way of saying comedy can make you think.
It can make you think. It's good. It can't all be serious dramas. We need some funny stuff too.
What was Mel Brooks like to work with? History of the World Part 2, another one of your shows.
It was terrible.
Was he terrible? This guy's 98 now?
He was 98 now. When we were shooting it, he was making it. He was 96. When I got the call that we were going to work with him, I still have goosebumps because he was so important to me growing up.
Right.
Blazing Saddles was a seminal film for me. History of the World Part 1 was a seminal film for me. And, those first early days sitting on a Zoom with him and pitching him ideas and stuff and being so nervous. The worst thing that can happen is Mel Brooks saying, I don't think that's funny. You don't want that to happen. But he is so wonderful and so supportive. And just whatever we wanted to do, he gave us so much support. And then just such great stories too. You can just kind of guide him into a story. And before you know it, you're hearing about Neil Simon being too shy to pitch to Sid Caesar, so he would whisper it to Carl, and then Carl would start banging the table. So he's just, and then I'll never forget him showing up at the premiere. We had a big, beautiful premiere Hulu had for us at the VA over on right by the Hollywood Bowl, or the Foreign Legion, and Mel showed up, and he got there, and it was raining a lot. The weeks preceding, it was raining, and Mel gets there, and the crowd goes crazy. It's crazy, and he gets up to the microphone, and he's like, "I want you all to know, when I was driving here on a long drive from Beverly Hills, and the man on the radio was talking, and he said something. And I'm going to tell you what he said because it really made me think. He said there's going to be continued showers tomorrow, and we're expecting a low pressure front coming in from Canada." Whole crowd just started dying. And he still got it. Yeah, in 96, 97.
He still has it.
He still has it. He's funnier than any of us could ever hope.
There was one person sitting there for this show once, Norman Lear. And of course, that was like, he walks in this room, not this room, but wherever we were shooting, and I just go like, it's Norman Lear. And this was when he was, just a few years ago.
Sure.
And
I got to work with him. I played Meathead on the
I know,
ABC.
And that's when I was talking to him about those shows and All in the Family reboot.
It was a dream. Like, that was another guy. It was just like, him and Mel Brooks are two guys who literally fought actual Nazis. Yeah. Right? Literally, we're over there in Europe fighting, and now they came here and became these legends of comedy. And the fact that I got to work with Norman before he left us is, I got a picture of him on my nightstand table, and he was just a beautiful man.
Amazing what this business enables you to do. And now to sit here and watch your father becoming a star. After being a lawyer judge, I was obsessed with Jury Duty.
They killed it.
I went to an Academy screening, not as a writer or anything, just as a member to just see it. I never do that. And I go like, oh my God, you're that one. You're that one. And they were all there.
In real life,
I'm just like geeking out over them. And your father was so good in it. You would think he had been acting his whole life.
He wanted to be an actor in like the 70s. But then he was like, I want to have a family. I'm just going to go to law school. He was a lawyer and a litigator for 35, 36 years. And then he said to me, he's like, I still want to act a little bit, but I don't. What do I do? And I was like, well, maybe it'll happen one day. And then just kind of randomly, a friend of a friend was like, put him on tape for this thing we're doing. And I was like, I didn't know what it was. My brother John, we recorded him, and we looked at each other. We're like, did a pretty good read. And he sent the tape into the casting director, Susie Ferris. And then, like the next day, Dave Bernad, Uber producer, produces White Lotus and all these things. He produces Jury Duty.
Right.
He calls me and goes, hey, I think we're going to cast your dad as the judge. And I was like, is this a joke? And then I still didn't even know what the show was going to be.
Yeah.
And he was telling me about it while he was shooting. And again, you have no idea how. I was thinking like maybe they would have a couple lines here and there.
Yeah.
Then you watch the show. It's amazing. It's hilarious. It's good vibes. Laugh out loud funny. And then at the end, this huge dose of heart. They picked my dad to kind of do the big reveal to the guy, and it was really beautiful how they handled it. And now he is a working actor in Los Angeles. He's in The Accountant too, which is in theaters now.
The Accountant too, and he's in the second episode of Running Point.
Running Point. He's in The Studio. He plays the projectionist in the Olivia Wilde episode.
Wow.
Yeah, when you get me now, you get my dad. It's in my rider. I need a cup of coffee and my dad to be in the show.
I know he was excited about kissing Kate Hudson. I saw you talk about that.
He was. He was very nervous, and I had to assure him it was her idea. And now he talks about it to literally anyone. He'll get pulled over by a cop, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, officer. I kissed Kate Hudson a few months ago on a TV show." But he was very happy with that.
Well, I'm so happy for both of you, the Barinholtz family, and of course, millions of dollars every time you walk on a game show set. Who wants to be a millionaire? Celebrity Jeopardy. You're a smart guy.
I love trivia, and I'm going to find a thing to do with trivia because I love it so much, and I encourage people to read and learn about stuff because it's very exciting to know facts and then ask people questions. So I'm trying to figure out something to do in that space because I just love it so much.
I love it. Well, The Studio on Apple TV Plus and Running Point on Netflix. Don't miss them or anything this guy does. Ike Barinholtz, thanks for joining us on Behind the Lens.
Actually, my friend, you're the best.
All right.
Thank you.